Welcome back to the MoreCore rule set coding extension tutorial series. This is part 11 and we're going to continue the character sheet automation. So what we achieved at the end of last session was the label for the class, the number box for the level, and the link field for the shortcut. What we're going to do today is we're going to allow you to drag an additional level of fighter onto, or additional level of class onto the character sheet, and it will increase the level from 1 to 2, and it will also output some information to the chat window about what things the player should adjust on their character sheet to allow for their new level. So the first thing that we're going to do is have a look at the record car more, and we've got a script that runs at the top of this window class, and it says if the string manager contains PC class, then character manager dbd.add class dbd and pass node car, s class, and s record. So if someone's doing an on drop and the item that they're dropping is a class, then it's going to call another script called add class db from the car manager dbd, and it's going to pass certain information. It's going to pass the character identification, it's going to pass the class identification, and the record information. We're then going to go to the manager car dbd, which is the parent script file, and we've got our add class dbd. So we can see that the add class dbd accepts node car, which is the character ID information, the S class, which is the class information, and the record information. So if the PC level of the character is nil or 0, then we're going to add a link, the shortcut link, into the shortcut field. We're also then going to set the class to 1, the class level to 1, and the class to the name of that class. So in our examples we're always going to be using the fighter, so it's going to set it to fighter level 1, and it's going to drag a link to the fighter class record into this character sheet. Now if the PC level is greater than 1, it doesn't have to add the class name, it's already there. It doesn't have to add the link because the link's already there, so it's just going to increment the level by 1. So we can see that if it's a brand new record, it's going to add 3 values. If it's an existing record, it's going to determine that because the level will be 1 or higher, and it will simply increment the record. And that will allow us to do the very first level of tracking. So the second thing that we want to do is tell the player what is going to take effect when they achieve that next level. So we've added some extra information. You can remember that we had our saving throws stored in data.com and dbd. We've created some extra tables, and I just saw something today that made me think maybe I should merge all of these into one table, and we might do that. But for the moment I've got several titles, so we've got several tables. We've got table or arrays for saves, for title, for hit dice, for specials, and we'll probably need one for spells, but the fighter doesn't have any spells at this point. Then we're going back to our manager car dbd, so this, and our add class function, and after it's incremented the level, it's going to do a few other things. So it's now going to check what the class is. So I'm going to basically have to build one of these out for our 7 classes. Our classes are fighter, cleric, thief, magic user, elf, dwarf, and halfling. So we've got, the first thing it's going to do is start to build the message, and the first thing it's going to do is declare a message font and an icon. Then it's going to look up from our database the the current level of the character. It's going to look up the current class of the character, and it's going to look up the current name of the character. Then we move down to AMyTitle. This is where it's actually going to query the data common DBD for the fighter title n level. It's going to take the level from the variable above, so level 1, level 2, level 3, and it's then going to look up that array and find what the new title should be. And then it's going to create a variable message text. So our George is now a level 2 fighter and is known as a Myrmidon, or is known as Myrmidon George. That would be his title and his name. Then we're going to gather the saves, collect the saves, so array my saves. It's going to pick up the saves from there, and it's going to do message.text equals message.text append this new message, so new saving throw values, and it's going to pull the 5 values out of there. Then it's going to look up the hit dice, create an array called my hit dice, and it's going to look up the hit dice for that level, and it's going to now append the previously appended message, and it's going to add additional hit dice hit points, add that message, and then we're going to look up the array for specials or abilities, and it's going to again append to the existing message, gain the following abilities, and it's going to add that message, and then it's going to deliver chat message. And what we see then is in the chat window, I've done it twice. So first up, I've dragged fighter into the character sheet, and it says Caldwell is now a level 1 fighter and is known as Swordsman Caldwell. New saving throw values, add additional hit dice, gain the following abilities, and then I've leveled him up a second time, and Caldwell is now a level 2 fighter and is known as Warrior Caldwell. So you can see it's fairly basic information, but it does help a player not forget the various different things that they need to do on leveling up their character. And then you can also see that the link has been created in the character sheet, and when I click on that link I get all the information on that class fighter showing up there, and there's quite a bit of information there. Now for the moment we are not pulling these saves or additional values from these class records. That's quite a bit more complex, and we're not going to do that as part of these tutorial sessions. We're doing it straight from the database. That's it for tutorial number 11, and in the next tutorial we will be adding the saving throws onto the character sheet. So we will put the saving throw values onto the character sheet in this stats frame box below the title, or below the class information. We may also add the title in on the character sheet. Thanks for joining in, and I look forward to seeing the wonderful creations that you come up with.